Chapter 5, Night Visit. The next morning, Samantha brought Lydia to meet Nellie in the tunnel. But when she saw how Nellie's eyes glowed and how gently she took Lydia's dress, Samantha wondered if she had been wrong to bring the doll. Nellie had never owned a doll, not even a simple doll, and certainly not a doll as beautiful as Lydia. It's all right if you play with her, Samantha said. Look, her hat can come off and her dress even has little buttons. While Nellie cradled Lydia, Samantha told her what had happened. Jessie laughed, and nobody will tell me why, Samantha said. Nellie didn't answer. She was buttoning the tiny buttons. I think I know, though, Samantha continued. I think she's going to be an actress. Nellie carefully removed Lydia's hat and turned it over in her hand. She'll be famous, Samantha went on, and one day she'll come back here and we'll go to see her, and she'll take you and me to meet all the actors and actresses. Only you and me out of the whole town, because we were her friends. Nellie still had nothing to say. Now she was looking at the doll's tiny leather shoes. In the days that followed, Samantha came up with several reasons for Jessie's leaving. Maybe Jessie had gone to New Orleans with Lincoln to be a singer there. Jessie had a beautiful voice. Or the president might have asked her to be a spy in Europe. She'd sew elegant clothes for kings and queens and learn their secrets. Or maybe her brother had been kidnapped and taken to South America, and Jessie was going to rescue him. Then one day, Nellie had a suggestion. Maybe she's got a baby, Nellie said. Samantha was startled. Why would she do that? Nellie shrugged. Lots of people do, but just like babies, she said. Samantha had to agree. Jessie loves babies. Well then, Samantha was annoyed. Nellie's idea wasn't half as exciting as any of hers, but it was too sensible to be ignored. Why wouldn't Grandmary tell me if it was a baby? Asked Samantha. Nellie shrugged again. Grown-ups don't like to talk about babies coming. Samantha had to agree. I asked Grandmary about babies once, and she said it wasn't a proper subject for young girls. Nellie nodded in understanding. I asked Mrs. Hawkins, and she said the stork brings babies, but she wouldn't talk about it anymore, Samantha continued. I don't think it's true anyway, said Nellie. When my baby sister came, the midwife was at our building. My other sister and I had to go out with my uncle. When we got back, my baby sister was there, and the midwife was fixing tea for my mother, but there wasn't any stork anywhere. Samantha was puzzled. What's a midwife? She asked. She's a lady who visits whenever a new baby comes, Nellie answered. My uncle said she brings the baby in her little black bag, but I looked in, and the bag was full of things like doctors have. There wouldn't be any room for a baby in there. Nellie, we've just got to find out what happened to Jessie, said Samantha. If we just knew where she lives, we could ask Lincoln. He must know where she is. I know where she lives, said Nellie. Samantha's eyes were wide with surprise. You do? Nellie nodded. A woman across the street from Jessie makes an herb tea that cures headaches. One day, Mrs. Ryland wanted some, so she sent me home with Jessie to get it. I can show you. Samantha hugged her. Oh, Nellie, that's perfect. Only we can't go in the daytime. They stop us for sure. We'll go tonight. When everyone's in bed, I'll sneak down to the back stairs and meet you right here in the tunnel. Look out your window and watch my house. Grandmary always turns up the gas lamp just before she goes to bed. That's how you'll know it's all right for me to come down and meet you. Nellie agreed. She knew no one at the Ryland house would even notice if she went out after she had finished her evening chores. Samantha had always thought the nighttime was very quiet, but that night noises seemed to come from everywhere. The crickets were making a terrible racket. The bushes and trees rustled up as though they were hiding wild animals, and dogs barked all around. Samantha closed the back door carefully and hurried to the tunnel to find Nellie. The two girls held hands started out of the yard and up the street. As long as they were on familiar streets where gas lamps glowed with a friendly light, they thought their adventure was grand and very exciting. But after they crossed the railroad tracks, the streets got dark and narrow. The houses were dark too and very small. Somewhere there was loud music and noisy laughter, and once in a while there was shouting. Nellie squeezed Samantha's hand so tightly that Samantha couldn't have let go if she wanted to, but she certainly didn't want to. She was just as frightened as her friend was. Maybe we shouldn't have come at all, she thought, but she didn't say that to Nellie. She wanted to be brave. Are you sure you know the way? Samantha whispered. I think so. Nellie's voice was shaky. It's not much farther now. Samantha looked at the drab houses they were passing. Even in the dark, she could tell there wasn't much grass in front, and there was very little room for flowers. Why does Jessie live here? She asked. This is the colored part of town, Nellie answered. You mean Jessie has to live here? Samantha asked. Nellie looked at her. Samantha was smart about so many things that Nellie was always surprised at what her friend didn't know. Yes, of course, Nellie said. Why? Asked Samantha. I don't know, Nellie said. It's just the way grown-ups do things. Her face lit up with relief. There it is, she said. The soft glow of a kerosene lamp shone from a window, and the girls rushed to the wall beneath it. They huddled there for a minute, panting. Aren't you going to knock on the door? Nellie whispered. Samantha suddenly lost her nerve. What if it's not the right house after all, she said. Or what if Jessie went away with Lincoln and somebody else lives there now? Well, we can look in the window, said Nellie. I'll get down and you can get on my back, but you can see in. No, I'm stronger, answered Samantha. You get on my back. Samantha got on her hands and knees. Nellie stepped carefully onto her back. She held tight to the windowsill and looked over. Oh, Samantha, she whispered. Jessie's there, and Lincoln too, and what? There's a cradle. At just that moment, Jessie looked up. She shrieked at the face she saw peering in at her. Nellie tried to duck, but she lost her balance and fell over, kicking Samantha in the ribs as she went. So it was a tangle of arms and legs and frightened faces that Lincoln found when he came outside the house. He laughed out loud. It was a tangle of arms and legs and frightened faces that Lincoln found when he came outside the house. Inside, Jessie brushed the girls' dresses. I declare, Miss Samantha, I think I'll spend the rest of my life straightening you up after mischief. She chuckled. What on earth are you doing here at such a time of night? Where's Hawkins? The girls looked at one another shyly, but Samantha spoke. We came by ourselves, Jessie. We didn't know what had happened to you, and no one would tell us. Jessie's smile melted and she put her arms around Samantha. My poor child, she said. I'm sorry. I never dreamed you'd worry, but you see, I'm fine. She stood back and smiled proudly. And now, come see my treasure. She went to the cradle and lifted out a tiny blanketed bundle. She brought it over to the girls and announced, This is Nathaniel. Wrapped in the blanket was the tiniest person Samantha had ever seen. His skin was the same fine brown as his mother's, and his head was covered with soft black curls. His cheeks were so round and soft, but Samantha couldn't resist reaching out to touch them. When his tiny pink mouth opened and closed, she was sure he smiled at her. Oh, Jessie, she breathed. He's beautiful. Jessie beamed and tucked the baby back in his cradle with a kiss. But you see why I couldn't stay at your grandmother's, she said, turning back to the girls. Lincoln's gone most of the time working. I gotta be here to take care of Nathaniel. But don't worry, Miss Samantha. I'll come to see you often, and I'll bring Nathaniel too. She hugged Samantha quickly, but she hustled the girls to the door. Now Lincoln is going to take you home. If your grandmother finds out you're gone, she'll have your hide and mine too. The way home seemed much shorter with Lincoln's strong hands to guide them. Nellie and Samantha crept into their houses without making a sound. Samantha tiptoed quickly up the stairs and back into her room. She hurried to unbutton her shoes and take off her stockings. She hung her dress in a tall wooden wardrobe, unbuttoned her underwaist, and slipped her long ruffled nightgown over her head. Her nightgown had never felt so soft and warm. Her bed had never smelled so sweet or been so welcome. She held Lydia very close and fell asleep.